In addition to being a convicted criminal, the GOP's choice to lead this country is the oldest presidential candidate in American history. We were hearing from someone who used to be so very close to him, so utterly cruel. Fred Trump, he's Donald Trump's nephew. He's Mary Trump's brother, has a brand new memoir, comes out next week. And about it, the New York Times writes this, quote, Fred Trump's son was born with a rare medical condition that led to developmental and intellectual disabilities. After Trump was elected, Fred Trump wanted to use his connection to the White House for good. The president seemed engaged, especially when several people in our group spoke about the heart-wrenching and expensive efforts they'd made to care for their profoundly disabled family members, he writes. After the meeting, Fred Trump claims his uncle pulled him aside and said, quote, maybe those kinds of people should just die, end quote, given, quote, the shape they're in, all the expenses. The remark wasn't a one-off, though, according to Fred Trump, Donald Trump's nephew. A couple years later, when he called his uncle, Donald Trump, for help because the medical fund that paid for his son's care was running out of money, Fred Trump claims his uncle said this, quote, I don't know. He doesn't recognize you. Maybe you should just let him die and move down to Florida. That's on the menu, voters. Trump campaign spokesman called this account completely fabricated, total fake news of the highest order. It's where we start the hour. Some of our favorite experts and friends. The executive director of Republican Voters Against Trump, the publisher of The Bulwark, Sarah Longwell's here, plus the host of the Independent Americans podcast, co-founder of American Veterans for Ukraine, Paul Rykoff's here. Lucky for us, Eddie stuck around. Paul, let me start with you, and let me just put two more pieces of reporting into the record. There's this harrowing account from Donald Trump's nephew, Fred Trump. There's this reporting from The Atlantic on on Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley. Quote, Milley had chosen a severely wounded Army captain, Luis Avila, to sing God Bless America. Avila, who had completed 5 combat tours, had lost a leg in an IED attack in Afghanistan, had suffered 2 heart attacks, 2 strokes, and brain damage as a result of his injuries. After Avila's performance, Trump walked over to congratulate him, but then said to Chairman Milley, within earshot of several witnesses, quote, why do you bring people like that here? No one wants to see that. The wounded. Never let Avila appear in public again, Trump told Milley. Trump's disgust for the disabled, for the wounded. He mocked a journalist, a disabled journalist, in his 2016 campaign. His disdain for the disabled is a matter of public record.